Mexico, voted #1 in the world to retire. Today we visit Merida, the amazing colonial city in the Yucatan jungle. We speak to full-time expat residents Randy and Jen Bowser. So let's talk the who, what, when, and why. Are you ready to fly and find relative freedom in an unfree world? Awesome sauce, amigos. Let's get started. Good morning, America! From the deserts to the sea, from the mountains to the snow, you are tuned in to the Johnny Punish Show, produced by the Veterans Today Network and BTN Radio, brought to you by HireVeterans.com, America's job board for U.S. veterans. Let's get this show rockin'!
I spent all my years fighting for a place in the sun, and I hit the ground running, thinking it was all.
Welcome to Punish Radio. I'm on with Randy Bowser and Jen. They're currently in the area of Merida, Mexico, and Mexico has been voted the #1 place to retire in the world. And so we want to talk to these experienced folks who've been in Mexico a long time. Randy's got a long history in Mexico, in fact, all over the world. He's a former BMX bike champion from California in the United States. Of course, in Mexico, he's an expert in the world of nursery and bromeliads. And of course, Jen is Jen is a Silicon Valley expert. How's that, Jen? Are you online?
Yep, that works.
Does that work for you? Okay. And Randy, did I get it all right?
Well, yeah, not only bromeliads, but of course all the different types of plants that grow now here and around the Yucatan of Mexico. So,
wow.
Yeah, but you had my history pretty correct there. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, well, guys, Mexico's been voted #1 in 2017 to retire, and I guess, I don't know if you're not really retired, you're kind of retired, maybe you'll never retire. Explain your disposition in Mexico right now for the listeners so we understand who we're talking to.
We are, I guess you would say, semi-retired. We wanted to end up here, and so we didn't want to wait until we actually retired. So we moved down here, and I'm able to work online and for a company in the U.S. And Randy had a business, or still has it, a nursery landscaping maintenance service. And so with the two of those together, we've been living here. He's been here
17 years now.
17 years, and I'm going on about 7 years.
Wow. So that's experience enough for our listeners to check you guys out and listen to what you have to say. Now, #10 in the world is Malta. #9 is Portugal. #8, Nicaragua. #7, Spain. #6 is Malaysia. And we're going to go to #5, Colombia. And #4, Costa Rica. #3, Ecuador. #2, Panama. And #1, Mexico. That's 6 Latin American countries, 3 European countries, and 1 Asian country. Tell me exactly, why is Mexico #1 for retiring?
Well, I think first and foremost for Canadians and Americans, it's the closest. It's easy travel. There's international airports, of course, here in the tip of the Yucatan, speaking, in Cancun, and right here where we live in the area of Merida, Yucatan. So travel here is very simple and easy for the families thereof, or them coming down and going back to visit family. It's, when I first moved here 17 years ago, I flipped a coin, and it was going to be Costa Rica or Mexico. And I was kind of glad the coin toss went to Mexico because of its proximity to get back and forth to the States, obviously.
So that makes a lot of sense, proximity to the United States and Canada. And of course, that's a really thing with families and visiting grandparents and people that are in your life. You don't want to leave your life completely behind. Is that correct?
Well, you know as well as we do, having family close and not that far away, it's easy coming back and forth from the States to Mexico. The same for us. And not only that, it's just, safety here in the Merida and Progreso region. It's extremely safe here. We don't have the issues as some of the other border towns do, because obviously there's no avenues directly to the States to get things across the border. So, we're surrounded by water, which means that we seem to be protected in that sense. So I think that's what really relates to the safety and the just the whole perspective that people have for this area, that, you know, they're not moving to Brownsville or Tijuana or somewhere like that where they have all the issues.
Now, talk about Merida area. Now, you have a place a little bit outside of Merida. So tell us more about Merida, the city, and then the areas outside like Progreso, Chaberna, just to explain to the listeners, what is it so good? Where's the good parts of it? What's happening? Why is it a good place to be?
Yeah, so both of us lived in Merida for a while, and we still have a house there. So if you're looking for a lot of culture, symphony, restaurants, diversity of restaurants, there's a big music scene, art scene. It's really a great place to retire and have a lot of culture and activities. Then we moved out to the beach, and this is a little more like living in the country, where it's a small village of about 10,000 people. We're just to the west of Progreso, which is a port city. And so out here, it's very peaceful, low cost.
10 degrees cooler than the heat of Merida, I have to say as well.
Yeah, well, it's hot area. So, I mean, that's one drawback, is if you don't like a lot of heat, very hot in summer, hot and humid. But we happen to enjoy it. So I think those are the big differences between the two areas. This is a smaller community out here at the beach. It's very close, and you still have a lot of great access to Merida for events. And Merida has really grown in its culture. They've got a new Coliseum for big music events. They've got the Museum of Mayan history, really a nice development. And you can get all the modern stuff as far as the best top-of-the-line medical care, hospitals. But you could live in a barrio and, eat off a street cart if you wanted to. So there's quite a diversity of however you want to live.
Now let's talk about healthcare, because that's a major issue with Americans, especially now. I know Canadians have the universal healthcare up in their country, but Americans are going through a lot of changes in their healthcare, so no one actually knows what it's going to be. But it looks like it's going to be very costly, and a lot of people are not going to get insured anyway. But when you come to Mexico, what are the Americans going to do for healthcare? Are they going to fly back to Dallas for healthcare, or are they going to get care in Merida? And if so, how does that work?
Well, JP, let me answer that, because I'm going to first refer to some of my friends that have had major surgeries. A good friend of ours, Dave, an older gentleman, had full knee replacement. And for 10% of the cost of what it costs in the States, I think he was saying up to $90,000, where he had it done for $10,000 here at a hospital called Star Medica, which is a presidential rated hospital, meaning they can accept a president there in a case of an emergency. For $10,000, he's got this brand new knee that he has no issues with now. Personally, myself, just 3 weeks ago, I had a cataract surgery in my eye, and it was, what was it, like $1,900. Of course, it was 30,000 pesos, so about $1,900. We compared the same surgery in the States, and minimally it was, $5,000 or more. And I got the top of the line trifocal German lens. It was 20-minute procedure. They all spoke English, so I understood everything. I personally as well have a medical plan that covers me full health benefits for the exception of a pre-existing knee injury. And it covers me throughout Mexico, if I'm abroad in the U.S. or Canada, puts me again at Star Medica, a presidential rated hospital. And I pay 15,000 pesos a year for this coverage, which in today's, money exchange, it's about what? It's about $1,000 a year for my full medical health care.
Let me check that out, because that exchange rate is really changing on a quick basis, right?
Well, if you don't look at it at $1,000, we paid 15,000 pesos a year for that service. I mean, we don't deal in dollars, we deal in pesos. So for us, that's just exceptionally well. I mean, it's in the event I was in an accident, the way people drive here, it's highly possible. But if anything comes around health-wise or something like that, we're covered. And it's so inexpensive. And it has to do with, I know for a fact that Mexico is not a suing country. So the doctors don't have all of the the insurance that they need to have to cover themselves in the event of a sue. So their rates reflect that, not having to have that.
I just checked today's exchange rate. The US dollar to the Mexican peso is 19.55. So you said it was 15,000 pesos. So that would be in today's dollars, $767 US.
A year.
Oh, okay, a year. Oh my gosh, a year. Okay, that's all?
Yes.
So that's pretty low, man.
It's extremely low, and it's extremely affordable. And a lot of folks that have moved down here aren't really Jenini's age. They're, 15 to 20 years older. So they have the medical issues. And like I say, it's a much better system down here because it's so much more inexpensive. And there's great coverage, and there's great doctors. I don't mean great coverage. There's great doctors here in all different fields that can help people along, from dermatology to podiatrist,
Gotcha. Now, with the healthcare issues, a lot of people think that there's maybe the doctor's this like ancient Mayan warrior carrying a machete or something. Is that the case at the hospitals, or because I know that sounds crazy, but they actually don't understand the quality of healthcare. So explain that a little bit more. Are we dealing with a Mayan warrior with a machete?
Well, I did feel it when they cut into my eye, and I'm still wondering what this blue tattoo thing is around my eye, but no.
You know what I mean? It's a perception, right?
I'm telling you, it is a perception, and until so many people, we hear it every day, especially from the business that we're in, and people come down, oh, you're going to Mexico, aren't you afraid? Well, no, I mean, the overall perception from the GP news in the States is be afraid, be very afraid. And then people that think outside of the box that come down here and get to experience all the different aspects, from the fish tacos to full medical care, they're like, we've heard this so wrong for so many years. It's not like this at all. That's why we love it down here. When we go back to the States for our quick week, we're always excited halfway through to get back home to Mexico.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Now, Jen, is that you feel the same way, Jen? Is that same sentiment?
Oh yeah, I mean, I enjoy the peace and quiet here very much. It's a slower pace of life, and the culture is very polite and quiet and respectful towards other people. So when I go back to the States, I just notice how fast everything is and a little more aggressive. And it has its advantages. We like to shop there. It's easy to shop. Internet shopping is not as developed here. It's easier to be a consumer in the U.S. It's harder to be, say, a consumer here. You really have to do more research, find out products, but network with people who bought things, where to go, what the best stores are. There's not as many guarantees of what you buy. Kind of, if you buy it, it breaks. Well, it's just so too bad. Most of the time, they don't like to do returns. But other than that, it's just a very peaceful life here.
Let's say there's a product that you need or want, and it's just not available in Mexico for whatever reason. How do you get it from the United States? Is there what we call a mule service? Do you guys help each other out? The next person that travels to Ohio, is he going to bring back that special machine that you need or something,
That happens. But
yeah, definitely. So we are modifying a vehicle for me, and a lot of the things for to make a vehicle accessible for a wheelchair driver, they just don't have here. So we ordered the parts from the United States, and we just have them shipped here. Now, shipping is a little expensive for something like that. But I think the biggest difference is just getting used to different brands that are here. You can find the same thing, but there's a lot more European brands here that I wasn't familiar with in the States. You can still get quality. Probably in the pharmacy area, a lot of things are different, but the quality is just as good and cheaper than the States.
Oh yeah, the pharmacy just blows me away. We're looking at a specific drug that is very common here for if you get the bichos, the little bugs or whatever. It's like 30 pesos for this 6-pill remedy to get the bugs out of your system. It's how much in the States was it?
It was a couple $100.
$200
What?
per pill. Yes, I swear. It's a fact. Jen searched it.
Oh
and in the States, it's like for one pill, it was a couple $100. and it's $1.50 for 6 of them here.
That's insane.
Well, and you know, it's like that not only with that specific drug that we were looking at, but all across the board. It just blows us away how inexpensive the drugs are when you walk in, and you don't have to buy the 500 lot. I need 4. They'll open it up, sell you 4 of them.
That's Mexico in a nutshell, right? Service.
It's service, yeah, you know.
Yeah, no kidding, right? So overall, the cost of healthcare is significantly lower. Pharmaceutical costs are ridiculous, off the charts lower. And of course, so your standard of living's higher on the income that you bring. I think International Living said you could live in Merida easily on $2,000 a month. Is that correct?
I would say, yeah, you could. I mean, as long as you're not, you know, going out to the nice restaurants that we like to go to once a month, every night.
Tell me about the rents or the mortgages or the housing costs in Merida, and of course in Progreso and on the coast where you live on the Gulf of Mexico. Tell us about the differences in costs. What are we looking at in terms of an average home? Should we be looking for a home? Is it a condo? What are we doing here?
You know, neither one of us have a ton of experience in renting. My mother has been here, so she rented a house for, I think it was around $600 a month. It was near the beach. I mean, a nice enough house. It had a pool. It had a couple bedrooms and a bathroom. So it was a basic, it was comfortable. But of course you could get much, much more.
Yeah, there's a lot of expats that have moved down here that are still considered snowbirds, but they've purchased, remodeled, and then they use that house as a secondary income or rental income. And they get anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month, US dollars a month, for the rentals. And it just depends on what amenities, how many bedrooms, a pool, proximity to the ocean. That depends on what you're going to pay, obviously.
So the renters are vacation rental people that are coming for a couple weeks, or what are they doing?
I think they have two markets. The snowbirds who come and stay for 6 months, and then the people who stay for a couple of weeks. And of course, those are going to be a lot more expensive. But I think the prices here at the beach have gone up. And also the availability, you have to do it pretty well in advance because the market gets saturated rather quickly at certain times of the year.
I just posted a thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but in Toronto, Canada, the average price of a tractor was approaching $1 million.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
I wish we could pick our house up and move it to Toronto. We could be millionaires again and again.
So what's the cost if that Canadian is coming down to your area and he wants to buy let's say a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house, maybe how about 1,000 square feet or 1,500 square feet? What's he going to pay in your area?
It depends. Does he want it turnkey or does he want some remodel work to be done? But I'll give you an example. Like the house that we bought is probably, a 30-year-old beach home, very low ceilings. I'm 6'3". I could walk in and touch the ceiling. So we bought the house for $50,000 and we basically tore it down and remodeled it to our specifications. And we put about another $50,000 into it. So we have this beautiful landscaped and pool and our beautiful house for about $100,000.
Not quite $1 million in Toronto.
No.
Okay.
A variety. There's a huge housing market in Merida, so it's very competitive there.
Yeah.
You can find prices down to $50,000 if you want to remodel and on your own, or you could find between 100 and 2,000 is probably the most common, and those houses are probably finished.
200,000. Yeah. That 200,000 is a really big home. Jen's house in Merida is, it's just a monster. It's like a little hacienda. I mean, you look at the front of it and it's like, well, it's not that big. And then you open the door, you can't see where it ends. And it's 4 bedrooms, a big pool, a garage, an office, the living area, the kitchen, the casita. And it's listed for $279,000, and that's turnkey. But it's been on the market for 3 years because a lot of people want to come down and spend $100,000 and put another $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 into creating what they want. And we're seeing a lot of that, those $50,000 to $100,000 homes being sold, and then a lot of people doing their own remodel work.
Okay, who are the people that are coming that you see into Merida? Are they generally the older retiree folk, or are you seeing a lot of young people too?
I think, the majority would be retirees, but But lately, in the last couple of years, there have been more and more, little bit younger people who are
The
coming
mid 40s, the mid 40 range
Yeah.
that are coming down.
and they're either they have a job, maybe they work for a company and they're coming here, or they're starting a business. So we are seeing some younger people come here.
The younger influence. In fact, we own a garden center here as one of the businesses that we own and operate for the last 3.5 years, and for 5 years we've done landscape design architecture out here. But because of another business, our fishing business that we've created 6 years ago, and it has now exploded, we've put the nursery business up for sale. And we have since sold it to a younger group. They're about Jen and I's age, in the late 40s, early 50s. And they bought a house down here just as well, here in the beach. And we'll be taking over the nursery mid-April and starting their lives down here like Jen and I did. So we're really excited. And they're Canadian, so.
Nice. So everybody helps each other out.
Indeed. Most definitely.
Beautiful. Okay, let's talk about business, because some people from Canada and the U.S., they come to retire. They have a pension, and maybe they just don't want to work, and maybe they just want to volunteer in the community, help kids out, or just hang out and fish all day long, right? So they can do that. But if someone did want to come work, what is the procedure to actually get a job or create a business? What are they looking at?
If you want to do your own business, you can either form a corporation or have yourself set up as, I guess, what we would call in the States just a limited partnership, where really you're just an individual, not part of a corporation. And you can get yourself registered with SAT, which is sort of like the Mexican IRS version of IRS. And you have to get approval to work, though. So if you're on a permanent visa, it's more straightforward. If you're on a temporary visa, you need to ask for permission to work. And there are people here mostly in the property, real estate, property management business, some restaurants, those types of businesses. And then a few people work for Mexican corporations, which is probably a little harder to do. You probably need skills, your language skills up to date, and so forth.
You speak about language skills. Someone comes down, doesn't speak a lick of Spanish. Are they going to get along? Are they going to be able to survive?
In this area, yeah, there are a lot of resources and who have been educated in the U.S. I mean, you can find attorneys here, doctors here, all kinds of people who have been in the U.S. for a while, picked up language skills, and are back here working. And there's the amount of resources to help you get started, to survive. You can easily find English supporting services. And then, of course, you can take your Spanish classes there. You can get private classes. You can get group sessions. There are schools you can go to. There's a variety of people who are ways to pick up your Spanish.
And let me add this, too. Still, the older you are, the harder it is to learn a new language. I guess your brain cells have been fried long ago, and you just can't pick anything up anymore. But because there is so many people like that down here, for me, it seems like, and I see it all the time, at least somebody in that group, in that company that you might be buying something from, a Mexican, speaks English and is willing to help you out. I find that really gratifying to see that. We go into Home Depot. There's 3 or 4. I go in there speaking English or speaking Spanish, and then all of a sudden the guy wants to start speaking to me in English to practice. So we end up finishing the whole sales transaction in English. And it makes me feel good that I'm able to help him out. So, you always have that aspect that there's always going to be somebody around that can help you. And a little sign language goes a long ways. You know how that is.
Okay, yeah. So let's go back to this Home Depot thing. So there's a Home Depot in town?
We have Costco, Sam's, Walmart, Home Depot, Carl's Jr., Burger King, Sears. It's very much all of the services that you can receive in the States you're going to find down here. All the merchants and so forth. We have quality banks. A lot of the banks are owned by, U.S. banks or nationwide or worldwide banks like our BBVA, Bancomer, or whatever. No, they're not worldwide?
HSBC, I think, is worldwide.
Oh, yeah, that's Hong Kong,
Yeah.
Shanghai. Yeah, that's true.
Well, the point is all these, Mexico 30 years ago didn't have any of these companies. No such thing as Home Depot or Costco or anything like that. But now it looks almost like Columbus, Ohio, or maybe, I don't know, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, no?
You're right. You're right. I mean, I remember driving through Amarillo, stopping in a Walmart and walking in going, wow, am I back in Mexico? Because above the lines or the aisles, it was written what was in those aisles in English and Spanish. I'm like, wow, how cool. So it's kind of the same thing down here. We walk into, the Office Depot, Office Max, the Home Depots, the Lowe's, all those kind of big market brand stores have found their way down here. And matter of fact, I have to brag, we just had a 12-pack of Dunkin' Donuts the other day. Krispy Kreme moved down here, so Dunkin' Donuts had to follow.
Nice. So basically, if an American or Canadian comes down to Mexico, they're not going to be without what they thought was the things at home they're going to miss. 90% of the stuff is still here. Is that right?
It is correct. It is. And like with some of our fishing lures that we kind of bought the one store out, they didn't get them for a couple of months. We ordered them from the States, from Amazon, believe it or not, and they were shipped right to our front door here by DHL.
Oh, really? And what is the cost of that? What's the extra cost? And is Mexico charging you a tax fee or something to get it across the border?
Amazon's pretty transparent about the shipping cost, so it's all up front. It doesn't seem to be that expensive. For those items you can buy on Amazon, and you can set up two addresses. You can have your U.S. address and your Mexican address, and whatever you look at, it will tell you whether it ships to that address or not. And it's been pretty easy to use and get things delivered here.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay, so good. So you can buy direct from Amazon.com, which is the U.S. version or whatever it is, the international version, and then just give them your Mexican address and it ships out, no problem?
It'll tell you if it ships to you or not. That certain product, and we have bought sleeping pills to fishing lures, and they've arrived right at our front door via DHL.
Ain't that something? Okay, that's good to know. That's really good information. Okay, so overall, culturally speaking, in Merida, describe your daily life. Tell us exactly what's going on and how does your life going on a daily basis? What do you do?
Okay, I got up and I went fishing. Next day, I got up and I went fishing. I got up and I went fishing.
How about you, Jen?
Yeah, so during the day we're working. Online I work and Randy's fishing. And then after that we're involved with several groups. There's activities around here, fundraisers for either the education of kids, the welfare of animals. There's a spay and neuter program.
Jen's actually been for the last few weeks now, and probably for a number of weeks to come, 3 days a week at 4:00 going and helping educate 3 or 4 girls that she has at the education center in Chubernal. She gets on her cool little moto and scoots up there, and she tutors 3 to 4 girls in math for about an hour or two every afternoon for 3 days a week.
Wow. Okay. So there's a lot of cool things to do on a daily basis. You're not running out of enjoyable, adventurous, quality things to do that are time well spent. Is that correct?
No. There's lots and lots and lots to do, whether you're in Merida or out here at the beach. And then again, you're not alone out here, because I do believe at last count there was well over 1,000 to 1,500 full-time expat residents. Now that means non-Mexican residents, so that's Canadian, American, European, whatever, that live here at the beach from Chubernal to Telchac, Porto. And then in Merida, there's something like 2,000 or 3,000, if not a little more, full-time expats that live in that area. So anywhere you go in this region, and not only here in the Yucatan, but in Playa del Carmen, Cancun, and all those areas as well, you're going to have, your compadres that you can connect with. And then, of course, there's a whole nother list of things to do, because they all like to party all the time, and there's always events and different kind of shindigs that you can be a part of.
It's almost like being in high school.
They're reverting. The old folks are reverting back to their youth here, let me tell you.
So everybody's just gossiping and hanging out and having good times.
Peyton Place it is, let me tell you.
Okay, on that note, Randy and Jen, I want to thank you for being on Punish Radio. We're going to share this with all the listeners around the world on veteranstodaylive.com. It'll be on SoundCloud channel. It'll be on our YouTube channel. It'll be on the JohnnyPunish.com channel. It's going to be everywhere. We're going to get it out there and share because International Living has said Mexico is the number one place to retire, and it looks like you guys have confirmed it.
You know, I would 100% recommend folks look into here, come down, spend a month, rent a place, get the feel for it, and make your decision. And I'm sure your decision will be a good one because this is a beautiful, beautiful place that we live.
Perfect. And before I let you guys go, Randy, tell us about your fishing business and what's going on with that so people can contact you and join you with the fishing expeditions.
You know, we do really, really fun fishing expeditions, not in the ocean, in the safety of the Merida. It's like bass fishing in a lake. And you can find us at Yucatan, Snook, SNOOK.com.
Okay, and tell us what kind of fishing is it? Like you're just looking for bass fishing, or is it other kind of fish?
We fish for speckled sea trout, we fish for tarpon, and we fish for snook. Sometimes barracuda we latch onto, little Spanish mackerel. But the water back there is crystal clear, an average of 3 foot deep, grassy, sandy bottom, and it's like a backwater lagoon, if you will. And it's just filled with bird life, underwater life. And the fishing has just been out of this world. I mean, it's really, really beautiful fishing back there. And it's a lot of fun. Kids, sportsmen alike, enjoy it.
And your clients are coming from where generally? All over the world or just South U.S.? Or?
We 2 days ago had folks, 5 guys from Norway that were visiting the area for a week, booked with us. We have the Carnival cruise ship passengers. They find our website, Yucatan Snook Online, before they come to Progreso, and they pre-book their land excursion with us. And then, of course, the expats that live here that have family and friends coming in down to visit, they know what we do and what we provide, so they send their families out with us. It's very inexpensive. We don't charge a whole lot for it. Kind of covers the cost and keeps us in fishing poles and lures. And it's something that it's my passion. I love to fish, and I could do it every single day, and darn near do.
And you know what? When your beliefs marry or match your behavior, life is a success. And I can tell by the energy that both Jen and you provide, I can see that you guys are extremely successful on a very spiritual level and even a financial level, of course, which is not as important, but it's always important to be financially successful. But that spiritual energy that you feel is it's coming across through the airwaves, and I just feel it, and I want to make sure everybody knows out there that you got to contact Randy and Jen, get out to see them, do some fishing, and we'll get back to you next time on Punish Radio, okay?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My pleasure, Jen. Thank you for being on the show. Talk to you guys soon, okay?
Cheers to you, brother.
Okay.
Good day, America! From the deserts to the sea, from the mountains to the snow, this concludes today's Johnny Punish Show. Produced by the Veterans Today Network and VTN Radio. Brought to you by HireVeterans.com, America's job board for U.S. veterans. I'm your host, Johnny Punish, wishing you an amazing day. Until we meet again.